Hello everyone, as I mentioned in some previous lectures, there's a ton of widgets, and finally we got to the widget list lecture, where we'll be giving you a reference for all the GUI widgets that are available. So for a complete list, again, you can always check out the Jupyter Notebook here. Right now I have the same notebook opened on my personal computer here, and you can see there's a complete list, and you can call it by just calling widget.widget_types.values. And that will bring you the complete list here. And it's a pretty extensive list, as you can see. There's HTML, radio buttons, boxes, text, integer text, toggle buttons, flexbox, select, normal buttons, images, etc. Integer sliders, a lot of things we've already seen. So as far as numeric widgets, there's 8 widgets distributed with IPython that are designed to display these numeric values. And widgets exist for displaying integers and floats, both bounded and unbounded. So the integer widgets share a similar naming scheme to their floating point counterparts. So integer and floating points, you'll basically see that the main difference is one starts with float and one starts with int, such as float slider or int slider. Okay, so we'll be going through the float ones here, but you can just replace wherever it says float here with int to see the integer equivalent. So let's go ahead and check out the float slider. Whoops. I need to go ahead and run this first cell. Now that they're imported, we can see here we have an integer slider. We can also display them vertically. So notice how there's a bunch of extra parameters here. Again, this is the main notebook to use for references on what parameters you can pass. In this case, for the sliders, we have a starting value, a min, a max, a step size, and then a description, which will go here at the left of the slider. And you can see the current value as you slide along. You can also pass in an orientation parameter to display it vertically, as we can see here. Let me go ahead and close that. There's also float progress bars that will load if you connect them or link them to some sort of operation or function as they take time. So keep that in mind. There's also bounded float text boxes, which, as you can imagine, would just accept floats, or float text, which is a really similar object or widget type. Notice, again, there's parameters here, so you can check this whole notebook out as a reference to what parameters are available for you. As far as Boolean widgets, there's 3 main widgets that are designed to display a Boolean value. First one is the toggle button, which here I'm just clicking it. Again, nothing's linked to this, so nothing's going to happen if I click it. There's a checkbox, which I can check on and off. And then the valid widget, which just provides a read only, so I can't actually interact with this, but I can have it display or be linked to something. Maybe if I hit a certain number, I can have this valid check mark show up. Again, this is mostly just a reference to what widgets are available, not how they can actually be used in practice. So there's selection widgets as well. There's 4 main types of selection widgets. Some of these we've already seen, such as the drop-down. So basically these all inherit from the same base class, and you can specify enumeration of selectable options by passing a list, and you can also specify the enumeration as a dictionary, as we saw in one of the earlier lectures in this section. And in which case, remember, the keys will be used as the item displayed, and the value will be returned to the corresponding function or whatever you're actually returning it to. So in this case, if I run this, we can see the drop-down menu here show up. We have options as a parameter, pass in a list there, the value, and the description. We can show the value, and if we select another, we can show another value. I really suggest that you actually just take the time to download this notebook and play around with the widgets yourself. This is just showing you a basic reference to all the widgets that are available to you. Again, we can also pass in a dictionary. So if I call this guy over, 3 and 1, you'll notice the drop-down changes. So we saw this earlier with interact, how automatic it was, but if you want to get more specific or more control over your widget, you can use this sort of syntax. There's also radio buttons available for you. Radio buttons just look like this. So here I have pizza toppings to be chosen that you can fill in as a radio button. There's also select. So you can select these. Here I just have selections. There's toggle buttons, which will just allow you to toggle things as a widget. Remember, these are all widgets. They have to be connected to something or some sort of function to actually interact or have some sort of response. And then there's also select multiple, which is really similar to this select, except for select multiple, I can highlight using shift or unhighlight using command or control, depending what your operating system is, just like you would be able to on a select multiple list. So using shift or control or command, you can select multiple ones, and you can also operate it with your mouse keys. All right, and then we can see pairs. Since I'm on pairs right now, if I select oranges, I'm on oranges for the values. String widgets, there's about 4 widgets that can be used to display a string value. And then of those, the text here will accept an input. So I can say, "Hi everyone," exclamation mark. And then there's text area, which will just give me a larger area to type in some text here. And you notice it'll expand as I click enter and need more room. LaTeX will allow you to type in LaTeX commands. So if you're familiar with LaTeX notation or how to write it, you can use the LaTeX. HTML will allow you to put in HTML. So you can notice here, if you're familiar with HTML, I'm bolding the world here. Or I can put it in italics. I believe it's emphasis here, EM. And you can see now it's in italics. So if you know HTML, you can use this to your advantage. And finally, there's a button, which we've already seen in the past. Okay, so the main point of this lecture is just to introduce you to the variety of widgets that are available to you. If you ever want to see them all, you can just run this cell or reference this Jupyter notebook. And you can also reference the variety of arguments you can pass into all of these widgets. All right, that's it for this lecture. What you should really do is just download this notebook and play with it yourself and make sure you understand how each of these widgets actually operates and what it provides to you as far as options. All right, that's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll be going over a brief overview on widget styling. So you can actually get a lot more customization out of the styling and what the widgets physically look like on the screen. Okay, thanks, and I'll see you at the next lecture.